What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the YBA, and today we're gonna break down some good morning vibes, some divination. Got the cold shower in, got the good workout in, and I'm on my way to Miami. And in about 12 hours, I guess I'll be on a yacht, and we'll be vlogging the whole thing. We'll be running into some very successful people. We'll be picking their brain, trying to learn, trying to see how these things have occurred. So I want to start out today by thanking my cosmetology teacher. When I was in school, this was during high school vocational program, I was the only male in the class out of about 30. I signed up for hair school. This is in 10th grade. 11th and 12th is when it will start. So thankfully, I had the foresight to at least do that. There was a teacher that everybody said, you do not want to get Miss Amer. You don't want her. She's like a drill sergeant. She's mean. It'll be hard to pass her class. She fails students, and you just don't want her. So who do I get? Well, of course, I get Miss Amer. I even tried to talk to my guidance counselor on that first day and get myself out of that class because I allowed the opinions of everybody else to form what I believed about her. And the guidance counselor had more foresight than me when they said, sorry, that's all there is to this whole thing. You're going to have to be in her class. You know? So, what up, really? Thank you for joining. So, I get in the drill sergeant's class, and she was the most inspirational factor in my life. She went very hard on me and everybody else around us, and she shaped me into a person who could be successful. And for some reason, well, I know why, I did not give much effort in any class. I was the person who was smart enough to really do the bare minimum. I could pass my tests. I would do the homework in school, but I didn't give any effort to anything. That was me. Until I got to hair school. I fell in love with it. I wanted to know everything there was to know about it. I wanted to be the absolute best at it. I wanted to memorize all the technical terms. I wanted to be able to just do really well with it. But none of that would have happened if I didn't get Miss Amer and she didn't drill it into my head. She expected excellence out of us, and with that, she was given all that and more. She was given a ton of respect, and I gotta say that being a teacher, as I would become later, being a teacher is a very thankless job. I'm sure there was times where she was probably sick of our crap. I know that I put her through a lot. I know that every one of the other students did as well. But I just gotta say something about this whole situation, and it is this. It is, do not let the opinions of other people shape your opinions about a person, because you never really know a person until you've walked in their shoes. You never really know. Don't let people, like, somebody walks in the shop and a barber next to you says, man, I cut that guy's hair, man. He is a real asshole. And then all of a sudden you're looking at it through that lens. You're almost hunting around to find out, why would this guy say this about him? He must be a jerk. And then you find out that this guy's wife died of cancer. All these other bad things happen to him. He's trying his best, and he's not, maybe he's not as pleasant as he once was. But you don't know what a person's going through, and you don't need to let the opinions of other people shape how you feel about a person. Because at the end of the day, I'm extremely grateful towards Miss Amer. I'm extremely grateful for being in her class. And I think that there was probably a lot of students who would have been like, you know, it would have been a lot better if we could have just sat around and did nothing. But I actually wanted to learn. I wanted to grow, and I couldn't have found myself in a better place. And I recently had a conversation with one of my customers the other day about a medical diagnosis, and we had such a great conversation, and I know he left feeling much better about it than he did when he got there. And that among all the other things is why I love this business, because this business minimally is about cutting hair. But on the real end of this business can take you anywhere you want to go if you learn how to treat people with respect, treat people with dignity. And there comes a point in time in your life or in your career, hopefully, that you understand it's about other people. It's not about talking about what you want to talk about. It's not about dictating the conversation around the things that you like. It's about giving people that outlet, building that connection, and making them feel good when they leave your shop. I think about my grandmother. My great-grandmother actually was a lot like my mother, and I grew up in her house. She was a hairdresser, but she had this divinity about her where she had pretty much lived her life for us. Every waking moment, she was doing something for somebody else, whether it was cooking, cleaning, providing advice, just going out of her way. And I took all that for granted because I didn't understand what she was doing, but she lived her life for us. And that's why she was such a great hairdresser. She owned her own salon. She had so many friends. God, she lived to be 93. She went to so many funerals, and so many people went to her funerals. So many people were impacted by her when she passed away, that I looked around and I thought to myself, like, look at the mark that she left on the world. And if we're not here to leave a mark on the world or to inspire other people, what are we here for? And that's exactly what she did. She was actually a hairdresser. She was an instructor. She taught in downtown Niagara Falls, which is a really poor area. Most of her students were not white. She couldn't even understand them. And I remember when she bought this book called Ribbon and Jivin', just so she could understand the slang that they were talking. And she would hold that book over my head all the time. She'd say, I know what yous are talking about. I got the book. I'm like, Nan, I don't even know what that book is talking about. That slang's from like 20 years ago. I couldn't even understand it. But the fact that she would go out of her way to try to connect with people that were not like her, she lived her life for others. And that was a valuable lesson. So today, I gotta say, I'm just waking up and I'm feeling thankful. I'm feeling thankful about all the inspiration and all the things that have went that way. And I hope that you guys can look at your lives and you guys can say, you know what, I'm thankful for some of the people in my life that has shaped me. If you got somebody who is a mentor in your life, drop it in the comments right now. Let me know about it. It's not a bad thing to have a mentor. It's not a bad thing to ask for help. And it's not a bad thing to look at other people in your life who are producing at a level and win them over to your side and get a mentorship out of that. You can always ask questions and people are going to be more than happy to answer those questions. And you're going to be a better person as a result of just humbling yourself. Those high performers are out there, and if you want to be one of them, I think you need to start to learn a little bit about what they're doing. Thank you, man. He said, hi with love from India. I'm probably not going to say your name right, but so at the end of the day, I want to tell you guys about one more thing is, you know, growing up in Niagara Falls, a very poor area, all the things I looked at, all the people I looked up to, and the inspiration that was around me before I moved to Florida was honestly quite negative. I mean, most of the people who were around were definitely not living the right way. These are people who would get, in a heartbeat, they would rob you over like 20 bucks. A friendship would be gone over $10. You'd see, you know, people dealing drugs. I remember looking up to a person that lived nearby. I'm not naming no names, but they were crazy as hell. I once seen him fight with 3 people and win. I had seen him command a ton of respect over the neighborhood, and nobody wanted to mess with this guy. All he did was lift weights, sell drugs, get into fights. And I thought to myself when I was younger, looking at him and looking up to him, thinking, God, I wish I could be like him. because I didn't have any other mentors that were more positive. And it wasn't really until I moved to the great state of Florida that I had actually seen what real success looks like. I'd seen Lamborghinis, I'd seen Maseratis, I'd seen all kinds of cars that I'd never seen in my life, right? And I thought to myself, like, if they could do all of that, why couldn't I? I mean, I'm no less of a man than they are. Maybe I don't have the qualifications, the job, maybe even the skills, but I'm young enough to learn them. And it just changed my whole mind state. When I went back to Niagara Falls, I thought to myself, I can't stay here. I can't become a cog in the wheel of this place. And sure, could I have changed my life and lived a little better there? Absolutely. I could have done that. But I was too immature to do that. I was too busy doing all the things that other people would find exciting or cool. And I didn't really realize where all that, I did realize that all that was honestly probably going to lead to a not good place. Either an early grave, definitely jail, definitely something like that. There's friends and family members that are in those places. And, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think that that's a good path for anybody. And if there's somebody out there that is living that life like that, I hope that this message inspires you. I hope that you realize that, you know, you're worth more than that. Don't throw your life away to try to impress other people. Don't concern yourself with the opinions of these other people because they're worthless. This is one thing that gives me a lot of joy when I cut kids' hair who are in high school. And I know the ones that I'm speaking to almost instantly because I'm kind of talking to my old self. I see these kids, they want to be cool, they want to fit in, they want to do the things that all the popular kids are doing. They want to do drugs, sell drugs. They're living the wrong way. And a lot of them are doing that to fit in. A lot of them are doing that to bolster their opinion in front of their peers. But the thing that I like to point out to them, and I have done this many times over my career, and a lot of them after talking with me for a while, they know that I'm speaking from truth. I was more hood than all these kids that were here in Naples, Florida. And they know when I'm speaking to them, I'm speaking from a place of love, and I'm speaking from a place of somebody who's been there. All the people that you look up to in high school and all the things that you do to impress others, one day none of this will matter. That kid that's really popular in high school, he'll be dead broke. He'll live in his parents' house till he's 40 years old. He'll have his time in the sun, and many of them will never grow up. Many of them will wind up being complete losers that you really wouldn't even want to associate yourself with later in life. And I've talked this message to many young people throughout the years of doing this. So, Wavy Cuts, he said, I needed to hear this message this morning, man. I have a mentor in the shop I try to model myself after. He has a fully booked schedule, and he's great with his customer service. And that's, you know, some of the lessons in life are the hardest to actually put into action, but we all kind of know what they are. And some of those things are as simple as could be, but to actually do them takes a lot of discipline. Like, for instance, we all know that we would have better health if we worked out, if we got in the gym. We all know that we would live longer if we ate better. But it's hard to do that when you don't have the discipline to do that. We all know that we should be in the shop early, probably an hour early before your clients get there. Give yourself some time to yourself to kind of, you know, get the shop cleaned up a little bit, you know, prepare yourself for the day. We know that we should stay probably a little bit after our time just in case there's another walk-in. You never know, man. And the funny thing about the whole thing is the moment a barber leaves because he has no clients, I've lost count of the amount of times I've seen this. A client would walk in with kids, with family members, and if you make a good impression on one single person, a lot of times this could lead to 5, maybe 10 more clients. People have friends, they have families, some of them have kids. And when you go out of your way for somebody and you show somebody that you genuinely care about not only their haircut, but what's going on in their life, and you've taken an interest in them, I mean, what is better than that? Will they get that at the next barbershop? Probably not. And speaking of the next barbershop, is like, the truth is, the competition out here that you guys are up against, let me break it down for you in a nutshell, what you're up against. You're up against people who will smoke weed at work, show up late, leave early, rush clients, run off at a moment's notice, cancel clients, not show up at all, jump around from shop to shop. So I guess it's to say the competition is weak. And if you were to exercise a little bit of discipline, you would be busy. I would think that any barber coming out of school right now probably thinks they're going to make a fortune because they've made a sizable investment of their time and their efforts, and now they have their license. But it can be disheartening to realize their first year in the shop, they're not going to make much money at all, which is normal. But if they can live for tomorrow, if you can understand it, this is about the long-term growth. Staying in the shop when nobody comes in is actually a good thing because you were there. You were minding your business. If you do this, if you do all the things that you're supposed to do, you know what? In 2 years, you're going to have a full clientele, and you could even be doing bigger things than you ever imagined. And you never know who's going to walk in your shop. I mean, I remember shortly after I opened my shop, a customer that walked in blew my mind. It was Mike Epps. And he wanted me to cut his hair. And the funny thing was, I was walking out of the shop. I was actually going to do a favor for my cousin who sold his house and left the motorcycle there, and the people were moving in and the motorcycle was still there. So I had to go take this motorcycle and get it out of there. Well, Mike Epps is walking in the shop as I'm getting in my truck. Somehow he knew I was a barber. And I said, I got other people in the shop, man. They'll take care of you. He goes, no, I don't want anybody else to take care of me. I want you to cut it. And I was like, why do you look so familiar? And when he told me who he was, I was like, oh my God, from Friday, I watched that movie a million times. I know exactly who you are. And I cut his hair. What if you're not in the shop when that opportunity comes? And what if an A-list celebrity or something like that was to walk in your shop today and you decided to take the day off? You decided to leave early. I'll tell you what, you'll miss out on the opportunity. And it is not only limited to A-list, B-list celebrities. It's just, God, you can miss out on an opportunity to grow your client by a good amount. I mean, the average barber needs between 100 and 200 clients to have a full book, and that's every day. And you may not even need that many. But if you got 200 clients, I mean, the amount of connections you can make with your clients, the amount of opportunities and doors that could open, and the amount of money that you can make will make you a self-sufficient person for the rest of your life. It could allow you to open your own shop. It could allow you to open other doors on social media or otherwise. And I can't talk, enough good about that. And today's event, the next 4 days, I'll be vlogging. I got my little action camera right here. Matter of fact, y'all, if y'all don't know about this camera, man, these are these are making life easy, especially for a person like me. And if you want to get involved with a company, if you want to get involved further into barbering, there is a million opportunities. You could represent a product company, a clipper company, trimmer company, a hair, just a wet line. I mean, there's a million things that you can do. And